What's up, guys? Sorry about that. It has been a long time coming, but I hope you guys had a great New Year's. Just want to do a little Sixers talk. We've been on the West Coast, so these games have been getting over late. Plus, the holidays have been going on, been crazy busy on top of doing family events and all that other stuff. I mean, you all know how it is. But Sixers, we'll talk about that West Coast trip, okay? Started off ugly. We played the Celtics Christmas Day. Okay, all hype for that game. It was close. It was a nail biter, but we are just snake bitten by that team. We cannot get past that team. Uh, we weren't able to close it out. I thought Brett Brown lost us that game. He wasn't able to get us over that hump. He didn't take timely timeouts when they needed to draw up a plays. I just don't understand during that game why you don't draw up a play for either Jimmy Butler or Embiid. You kind of just give it to your fourth best player, and that's doing a down screen for JJ Redick. Okay, that's the one issue during that game. And the main key in all these losses, even though there was two, we were 3-2 on this West Coast trip, was turnovers, lack of intensity, just giving up big leads. And that's been the Sixers, basically the story. But I've heard, and as you guys know, I'm a huge critic on Ben Simmons. It's not that I don't like the guy. I just don't see progression where it should be. Now, that doesn't mean I want to just up and get rid of him for no reason. Of course, you have to give him time to develop, so on and so forth. Because he's, a year and a half into his NBA career? Okay, because he sat out his first year. And I'm hearing people saying they want to get rid of him now. So I wanted to discuss, do you think it's worth it for the Sixers to get rid of him now while his value is still high, or should they keep him? Well, I'm going to say that I think it's silly to get rid of Ben Simmons at this juncture right now. Because of the growth that we've seen him go through, all last year he was a monster, okay? And you've seen what he did over the last 5 games. And there's always that argument, the jump shot, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to sit here and talk about that because it's been talked into the ground verbatim. Who cares if he doesn't take jump shots? Is it frustrating? Yes. Will he ever turn into an elite player without that jump shot? No. But what he does do great is he knows how to run an offense for this team. And then there's the question of, is he a true point guard or not? I still think that's yet to be seen because he still plays good at the power forward position. I think he's great passing out of the post on the block. He's real effective, and he's been real aggressive the last 2 games that we've seen. He's been going down to the post. They really haven't been feeding the ball when I think they should be. He's been aggressive on the offensive end. I still think he should take it strong when he is in a half-court set because when he gets a full head of steam, when he's in transition, I mean, you can't stop him. He's too big. Okay, he's powerful, and I like the intensity that he brings too. He is a guy that works hard. I mean, look at the free throws. So we know the guy has the intensity and he has the ability to become that next level player. I get frustrated with him because when he is in those half-court sets, he kind of disappears during big games. Okay, he didn't do anything during that Boston game. He only had 11 points, 14 rebounds. Okay, there's the argument that he affects the game more than just scoring with the passing ability. Well, if that's true, then the bench or other players around him should be doing stuff. And I feel like JJ does struggle at times when Ben struggles too, because of his ability to see the floor and get guys in the right positions. But we get lackadaisical in this offense when we play a lot of ISO ball. So you need Ben Simmons. This is why Ben Simmons has to develop this jump shot, though, because you need Embiid to do work on the block, okay? Without Ben Simmons being able to have that jumper and keep the defense honest, you really can't have him do anything but stand around, and we all get frustrated with that. I get frustrated even in myself. JoJo is playing an MVP season this year. That game, if we didn't have him in that game last night, we definitely would have lost. Even though Ben Simmons had a very good game. He had 29 points. I thought he was money from the free throw line. They were fouling him, and it didn't affect us with losing the game. Even though it got close, we blew that 30-point lead. That was not Ben Simmons' fault. That was the team's fault. They got lazy. The defense was not there. The turnovers started to pile up. Guys were not in the right spot. and that goes along with having a young team and coaching. Again, a lot of this has to do with Brett Brown. But I think it's stupid to talk about even trading Simmons at this point. Now, when I had said I would trade Simmons, would be after the season, you see where he's at. You see what happens in the playoffs. Because we have him yet for another full year. He's making, we drafted number 1 overall, he signed a 4-year contract, $26 million. Okay? He's got $8 million next year. And then you got a qualifying offer of $10 million. The cap hit, I think, is like 18 to 20, I think. But we're going to match that qualifying offer if he does progress. But I don't think you trade him midseason right now because it's still too young. He's a year and a half into it. But if he doesn't progress from what we saw last year to adding that next level like Embiid has over the past, 2.5 years, I guess you would say, with Embiid, you've seen his game get better. Simmons, at times, does look like he's getting to that next level. He's turning it over. It's clicking in his head. He's being aggressive. Because I want Simmons to be able to affect the game. Yes, he does with his passing ability, being able to see the floor. That's his best asset, definitely. And like I said, running in transition. I think he's the most effective when he does that, and I wish we'd run more up-tempo. Again, that's Brett Brown, though. With pushing the ball and drawing up half-court sets. He struggles in a half-court set because I don't know if Ben Simmons is really a true point guard. But like I said, to talk about trading him so early in the season, it's just silly because he has that potential to be that third-year player. Or that third transcendent player. If Jimmy Butler wasn't on this team, I don't know where we would be at because, like I said, Simmons does disappear at times during big games. Now, we did play Phoenix last night, so you can't really go off of Embiid going off for 42 or Ben Simmons going off for 29. I thought he was great from the free throw line, so he has worked on his game at that aspect. Him and Embiid turned the ball over so much. They at least each averaged 5 turnovers a game. Simmons had 4. Embiid had... Happy New Year, Eric. Embiid had 5. I think Embiid's worse with the turnovers than Simmons is. Yeah, the Kings are balling this year. So when we made that trade with Markelle, it's not going to hurt us that much because we all thought that pick was going to be in the top 5. I don't think anybody saw the Kings really being possibly a fringe playoff team. If the playoffs started today, they'd be in the 9th spot and a fringe playoff team to be the 8th seed in the West. I would try to trade Ben Simmons and Fultz for Devin Booker. What you think, Kyle? I would love to have Devin Booker on this team, Ron. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Phoenix lets him go because of the caliber player that he is. And it kills me every time when you look at that draft that he fell to 13th, I believe. That we didn't take him at the 3rd overall because it was too high, blah, blah, blah. I wish we could have kept... Yeah, that would have been nice to keep that cat, though. But we took, I think, Okafor in that draft. I think it was 2015, right? He got drafted? And we took Okafor at number 3, and we let Devin Booker fall all the way to 13. And imagine his style of play on this team with the Ben Simmons, the Joel Embiids. And then we would acquire possibly Jimmy Butler. We don't know how that would have panned out. But, he does bring great value. But it's yet to be seen. And I would like for people to open their eyes, though, to think it's crazy to trade Ben Simmons because without that jumper, let's get into that discussion real quick, okay? Because it's been beaten verbatim. He is, and he's not aggressive a lot of times, and that's why I get frustrated with Ben, because I know that he can get to the line. And I think he strays away from that a lot of the times to getting to the line because he struggles at being a point guard in a half-court set because he doesn't see the floor as well when everything's stopped as when you've got a couple guys or when you're running up and down and you got the defense on their heels. But on top of that, when these guys are struggling and you don't want to lean on them 37 to 40 minutes every single night, you're going to be burnt out by the time you get to the playoffs, okay? The bench is so weak. And when we do have these big leads, we get outscored in the third and fourth quarter most of the time because we just let the defense go, and we struggle defensively. We bring it so much in the first quarter. I want that energy to be brought all the way up into the fourth quarter. They get lackadaisical, they get lazy, and you saw it last night. And it was so frustrating to see to let that young team. They had a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to claw back and knock a team out like the Sixers because they know what caliber they are. And then you saw the Clippers getting into their heads. Jimmy Butler got ejected. These teams are going to do whatever they can to win because they know they're the inferior teams. And it's up to our players to keep their composure or what have you. But at what point do you look at it is Ben Simmons going to ever use that? He talks about training and using jumpers, and you see all the videos and this, and that, but when is he going to use it in the game? Jason Kidd couldn't shoot. LeBron James couldn't shoot. But they all kept the defense honest by shooting it. And it kills our offense at the same time because it takes Ben completely out of the game at that point when you got Embiid on the block, and they're going to double him, but you don't have to worry about Simmons unless he's 3 feet away from the basket. And a lot of times he misses bunnies too. I'd like for that tenacity and for him to get nasty because when we're up, you can see he does get aggressive. He stares a guy down, and I love that about him. It's awesome. We need Rocco back. Fultz. Yeah, and then you got Fultz, and then you got Smith, who is out. We've got all these players and injuries that we don't know what is to become of them. And when these guys do come back, Fultz is a main ball handler. Okay? What do you do with Simmons then? Same with Dario. Dario did not work out with Ben Simmons because they needed the ball in their hands to be effective, especially Dario. Remember when Ben Simmons was out that year, the year we drafted him? Okay, he went out that Jones fracture, and Dario shined. You thought he was going to win Rookie of the Year, was hands down. He was phenomenal. Next year, Ben Simmons come back. Dario takes a huge step back. Why? Because I think he's much like Ben, who he needs to be effective to have the ball in his hands to be able to see anything. Because when he played overseas, he was like a point forward as well. I would like to see Ben get more offensive touches down on the block now, like he's doing in the Clippers game and he did in Phoenix game. It was great. He's going to have the mismatch a lot of the times because of the switching and because he's going to have guards on him. He's a bigger body. Any news on Fultz? Nothing, man. I have no idea what's going on with Fultz. They said he was training out in L.A. I saw him on the bench, but I haven't heard any news on him. I mean, he's a wild card. We don't know what's going on with Fultz. You can't trade him, as we've talked in the verbatim. He's got no trade value. Ben Simmons yet does have trade value. But I think you have to wait until after this season's over to see what you're going to do with Ben Simmons. Because after the season, you'll still have 1 year of control over him before he's got that option to where he can look other places, but you still have him under control to where you could trade him and possibly get pieces for him. And I feel like when I say stuff and I go against what people feel about Ben Simmons, like nobody's untouchable in sports, okay? Nobody. Whether it's Embiid, even though they're fan favorites and you love them, and even the potential Simmons could bring, he's not untouchable. Embiid is not untouchable. Okay, anybody can be traded at any point in time. And then you look at our window. Now, I want to touch on this. Jimmy had released a statement saying that he doesn't want to play basketball until he's 35 years old. Okay, so he turns 30 this year, if I'm not mistaken. That would give us a 4-year window to try to do something. And Simmons, in a lot of interviews, it says, yeah, I'm working on my game, I'm working on my shot, just give it time. Well, I've said it before, teams only have a set window of where they can make a run for a championship. How long can we really wait for this jumper to develop for Ben Simmons? Time is against us, really. Okay, you've got Embiid locked up for the next 2 years, or 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, Jimmy, we don't know if he's going to resign. Say we do resign him for a 5-year contract, or 4 years. That would mean he would be 34 at that time. He's going to be the back end of his career. Okay? Money situations. If we do end up keeping Simmons, he's going to want at least $200 million contract. What's up, Philly 20024? So everything's got to play out the right way. We do have cap space now to where we can sign 2 max contracts. We got Embiid locked up. We got him taken care of, okay? And I don't want to jinx it, but we all know what happened to Embiid earlier in his career. I don't want to say anything. I'm very superstitious, yada, yada, yada. So, Fultz can shoot better than Ben. Think about that for a second. I know Fultz can shoot, but he also has that thoracic, I don't even know what the hell it is, that muscle, it's not a disease, but that muscle issue to where it's ended a couple careers, and nobody has come back from it. You know? So, it's like, we got stuff working against us. So, we say we do give Jimmy that big money. He's only going to play for the next couple years. And players other than LeBron James, because he's a freak of nature. What's good, Kurt? Start to decline after the age of like 30, 31. Their games aren't as good. Father Time's undefeated for a reason. But you have that. Do you really want to pay Ben Simmons $200+ million to really average 12 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists? I wouldn't. Because if that's the case, if he's not going to progress for where he's at right now, you could find a player like Ben. Because right now, I feel like he's a bona fide Rajon Rondo. And I'm not thinking Rajon Rondo is anything special. Is he a good player? Yes. Is he a great transcendent player? Nah, definitely not. Can Ben Simmons become that great transcendent player? Absolutely. But it's all up to him whether he is going to do that, to take it to the next level. He's traded with LeBron. We know his workouts, and you've seen it. He has improved on that shot a little bit from the free throw line. Okay, I'm trying to think what he shot last year from the stripe, but he's at 59%, I think, this year. He's been horrible. He's been absolutely dreadful. And when he does take that one shot, so on and so forth, it's off his back foot. We've seen it. Or he'll get pushed out of the paint because they'll clog the middle, and then he'll end up taking a freaking 15-foot baby hook from, like, they're not high percentage shots. And he's a lot better than that. I would just like him to be aggressive and then get fouled and go to that free throw line, even if you're going to miss it. I think he gets in his own head, and that is going to be his biggest issue. I do think Ben will get a jumper. Might not be a good shot. Even if it's not a good shot, I don't care if it's pretty looking. I don't even care if it goes in half the time. Just keep the defense honest by attempting them. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you go 0 for 5 every night. Go 0 for 8. As long as you keep the defense honest. That is so big for not only him, but for our team. For defending him, too, because it's so easy to defend him. Now, when he's in transition, he's unstoppable. We've seen him. He's 250 pounds. He's 6'10". He can go to the hole strong. Great dunker. Look at that great inbounds play he did. He's smart. Okay, he's got great vision. The intangibles are there. It's that jumper, man. It's hinging on that damn jumper. And if he doesn't get that jumper and he doesn't attempt those jumpers, I don't want to give Ben Simmons $200 million for what he does right now. You've seen it in some games where he looks unbelievable. I want him to be consistent. I don't want him to disappear in games. Keep it moving, just like we saw with Embiid from year 1 to year 2. You've seen it. You look at him. He's playing at an MVP level. I haven't seen that from Ben Simmons, and Embiid's in the same situation. Missed his first year. Embiid missed his first 2 years, for God's sakes. I mean, the guy's barely been playing basketball for 10 years. Not to go for Simmons, who's been playing his whole life. He's been around basketball his whole life because of his dad. Heard his dad even had a little nasty jumper down there in the Aussie League. It's just, and I'm pulling for him because I like Ben Simmons. I want him to be that third tier. But think about it. If we didn't make that trade for Jimmy Butler, would we be the 4th seed in the East right now? Would we have 25 wins? So that's the question I'm posing. Because I know a couple people on here have attacked me and said that I gave credit to Ben when he had a good game, saying, "Oh, I'm a fake Sixers fan, It's like, I'm going to shoot it straight because I am a fan. I don't favor one side. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be a blind homer. I'm going to shoot the shit the way it is, whether people like it or not. That's just my opinion. That's how I like to view sports. Yeah, it does suck. I'm not trying to sit here and bash the guy, but it is what it is. I'm just stating facts, bro. If he don't get that jumper, he is not going to be elite. I don't see us progressing. Why do you think they traded for Jimmy Butler? Because of the faults. He fell out. We don't know what the hell happened with him with all his BS that was going on. And all we had to lean on was Embiid. And we still do that at the end of games, which I think Simmons can take a game over at the end. Okay? He's just got to be able to break down that defense, which he can, because he's bragged about it, saying he doesn't really need that jumper to his game because he can get to the 10 at any point in time. Well, fine, do that. Prove us wrong. When he does penetrate and break down that defense off the one defender, they clog the paint, he gets nervous, and he kicks the ball out and he turns the ball over. We still got a wild card in Zaire Smith. We don't know what's going to go on with us Zaire either. And he would be a great addition to this team. So Ben wouldn't have to guard a lot of the guards. Because look at all the guards that go off against us. They all look as Embiid. Sorry, just got a random phone call. We need a Phillies free agency video. They're going to do one tomorrow. Adrian's going to do one with Tony, I believe. I know the Phillies just signed Roberson, so that's a nice little piece we added to the bullpen. But they're going to do one tomorrow. You know, and it's good for the Birds. They play. They got in. So we got some Philly excitement. It's just I want to build off of what we had last year. And I don't know what Elton Brand's doing. He's sitting on his hands because this bench needs a lot of help. So the Clippers game, we got outscored 43-55 in the third and fourth quarters. So that was a 12-point differential. Last night, we got outscored, I think it was 60-78 in the third and fourth quarter. That can't happen, especially with a young team like Phoenix that was hungry. You know, Devin Booker's going to get his, but you're letting guys like Josh Jackson drop 16 points on you. Brand really can't do much with our cap. What you mean, homie? We got a good amount right there. He's got to be able to do something. You know? And a lot of inconsistency until the buyout. And a lot of inconsistencies, too, is Brett Brown is so frustrating to watch. And it's not all Brett Brown, but a lot of it is Brett Brown, too. Not being able to draw up offensive plays. How many times have we seen the same the same hard screen, or the same down screen at the top of the key with Embiid and JJ? He's always trying to get the ball to the fourth best player. We traded for Jimmy Butler for a reason. Yet, at the end of games, he's closed out 2 games for us, among many others, where we saw him take the last shot and win the game for us. And that Celtics game, where the hell was Jimmy Butler at? Did I just read correctly about giving up on Simmons? No, it's just the title, Rod. Because here, and I don't know if you get, I don't know if you do get the news or you follow the news here in Philly. There's been a lot of talk about giving up on Simmons and trading him in the Philadelphia media here. Now, Rod is from Australia, so Simmons down there is like a god. Do you live close to where Simmons played and grew up, Rod? Give Ben one more season if he can't even reliable from the line. We trade him. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. And it's funny because I brought up trading Simmons a week before all this media talk about trading Simmons came out, and I got like attacked for it. And I feel like it has to be in the conversation and thought if he does not progress. He's from Melbourne. I'm from Sydney. Is that close, bro? I have no idea. But I do like what we saw out of Simmons last night, Rod. Thought he played well enough. He was a monster from the free throw line, and that's always your worries at the end of games when teams are going to try to get back into it. It's a strategy. You foul the worst free throw shooter, which is Ben Simmons. He struggled some games, and he was dead on last night. He started out 7-8 from the charity stripe, too. There were so many. I think the Sixers had a season record for 53 attempts. 3 more players. We definitely need some more bench help because the guys, it's like Elton Brand needs to stop sitting on his hands and just make a move already. TJ McConnell is consistently getting like 25-plus minutes, and we cannot have that. He is not a good enough backup for Ben Simmons. Oh, it's 12 hours away? Okay. But is it like, Rod, is it like down there, even though it's 12 hours away? So it would be like, he's like a godsend down there. He's like a god down there, right? Like, even though you guys are 12 hours away, he's probably all of Australia's, like, golden boy, right? Golden child for basketball players. And you got Joe Ingles down there, too. who's nice. Okay, dope. You know, so that's been in the media talk up here in Philly. It's just I don't know when it's going to be incorporated. He disappears in the big games. I want to see that change too, because Embiid's not going to be able to carry this team every night. And like Jimmy was out with a respiratory infection, upper respiratory infection last night, so that's going to fall to your third, your other great player in Ben Simmons. No one cares about the other players, only him. Yeah, I mean I'm not surprised because I mean growing up, with the media with him, I'm sure they were talking. Were they comparing him to Magic Johnson a lot, Rod? We still got Justin Patton. I think would be a nice backup to Embiid. That's what we're lacking. Another point guard. We just need more shooting. Okay, so he's like yeah, that's what I thought. He was like the golden child bringing up. He's like the it factor down there. Much like when he came here and when he chose to go to LSU, we all followed him. The Sixers were all excited to get him because of the vision that he brings and yada, yada, yada. But he did get 29, but he did play one of the worst defenses in the league. What did I say? Boston, he only got 11 points. He disappeared. Great defensive team. They know how to guard him. A demigod over here. That's what's up. Trade Simmons and Kardashian for LBJ. I wonder if LeBron did come here, if his development would have been on the same track or if he'd be in the same issue. But he definitely got to change. He's got to learn to work off the ball. He can't have the ball. He's a one-trick pony at this point. As we've seen over these past road trip out there out west. At least these West Coast games got to be good for you, Rod. Being on later. Probably trade Ariza too after getting. I would really like to reach out to Phoenix and get TJ Warren. We need another wing player. It's just we need a couple more guys, and Elton Brand needs to stop sitting on his hands. Get rid of Brett Brown first. It all starts from the top, Ron. Absolutely. Brett Brown is trash. I said that earlier in the season. I don't think he's the coach to lead us to the promised land. There's no reason why we should have to bite our nails at the end of every single game. We should have won that Boston game on Christmas. We almost lost that Clippers game, and we should have kept that 30-point lead to where we didn't have to leave our starters in up until the last waning seconds against Phoenix, mind you, who was 9-29 going into last night. You shouldn't have Simmons and Embiid playing 37 and 40 or 35 minutes respectively. Nah, you're up that much, they should be playing 25 minutes, period. Embiid was a monster, though. He really, he ate DeAndre Ayton for lunch last night. They were just raining threes down on us. Man, what I don't understand is a year and a half in his NBA career, and we draft him for his shooting abilities. Are you talking about we drafted Simmons for his shooting abilities, Rod? Comebacks this season. Is Smith... They said they said that Smith was supposed to be back this month. So I'm not holding my breath. I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and apparently they saw him at a Texas Tech game when they were playing. I forget who they were playing. I'm going to Nuggets Sixers on the 26th. Going to be hard. That's good. Yeah, that's another thing I want to talk about too. We did. Oh yeah, right. We didn't draft him for his shooting abilities. No, but it's not like we didn't draft him for his shooting abilities, but he has to learn how to incorporate that into his game because he turns into a one-trick pony. You clog up the middle, what is he going to do? He looks to make these crazy passes, he gets himself in trouble, and that's how he turns the ball over. Now, we do have the next 5 games. It should be an easy stretch because we play below-average teams. You've got Washington twice. I'm excited about the Dallas game. They're an up-and-coming team. Luka Doncic is a beast. Now, this question was posed to me. I want to pose it to you guys. If the opportunity arose, which it isn't, and it never will, would you trade Ben Simmons for Luka Doncic? I would. I personally would trade Ben Simmons for Luka Doncic. But that game might be a struggle because they're up and coming. They got a nice few pieces. Then we got Washington back-to-back. That should be one at home and then one on the road. We play Atlanta and then the Knicks on the road. So that should be an easy, hopefully, fingers crossed, we should at least win 4 out of those 5 games. Same thing with Smith. We drafted him for his defense. That lets them guess in a second. So, and then it gets tough at the end of this month. We're going to play a lot of great teams. You got Minnesota, OKC, you got the Lakers, you have San Antonio Spurs. None of these are easy feats. So it's going to get really tough at the end of this month. Starting the 15th, we start with Minnesota at home, and then we play all those tough teams that I just listed. It's not an easy game from the 15th all the way to the end of the month. So we got to pick up wins where we can. And this will really show us if we are going to become and get to that next level of an elite team. I don't think we're an elite team, just of where we're at in the season, with where our coaching staff is at, and the development of our players. We saw it last night. We can't even barely shut the door on a 9-29 team. And I don't want to, make excuses, back-to-backs, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that crap. Stop. That's the young team out there. They really have Devin Booker to lean on. Other than that, you saw it. We went up 30 points, and we ended up winning by what? Simmons took a year off and still can't shoot a jumper as a guard with a flipping joke. Multi-million-dollar jerk that plays when relax. Yeah, I can't disagree with you there, bro. Dennis Smith is raw. Dennis Smith is raw, but he's a decent player. He's nice. I think he complements Luka very well. Could we trade for JaVale McGee as a backup center? I know. I loved having JaVale here. When Tyson Chandler was out there, I wanted to get him, but we didn't. I don't know if we can get him. Honestly, Luka versus Simmons. Who you got? I'm taking Luka over Simmons. I just said that. No doubt about it, man. If that trade ever arose, I would pull the trigger in a heartbeat to get Luka here. That ability to, and he's not a great shooter by any means, but he can shoot. He can shoot. He can keep the defense honest. Is Ben Simmons better as a visually? You can see the court a lot better. Yes, but that shooting factor, man, being able to score and take a game over. Our bench is weak, man. It is. Our bench is crap. That's why it's like you can't. You got two young guys in Furkan Korkmaz, and who hit a big shot last night. That was huge. And Landry Shamet. If we're not hitting our threes, we're screwed. Mike Muscala is too inconsistent. He is struggling mightily. I've never seen him play this poorly in his 6-year career. Like, whenever I watched him in Atlanta, he was always hitting these bangers, knocking down shots, so I was hyped when we got him. He's a good energy guy. He's just too inconsistent from downtown right now, and we really need to have him hit these open shots. And then when JJ goes cold, that's why it was nice when we had JJ coming off the bench. Now, when Zaire Smith comes back, if he does come back at all this year, he would help us with our guard play. He's athletic, great defender. And he would be great in transition with Simmons to be able to run up and down. I mean, you saw that little bit of chemistry with Demetrius Jackson yesterday. That's what Zaire is going to bring, but a lot better. I believe in Furkan as a bench piece. Yeah, I like Furkan. Oh, it's definitely our scheme. That's all Brett Brown, though. That is all Brett Brown. Zaire's and Avery Bradley. I want to see what we got in Zaire Smith. Chandler, I think he's struggling because of the amount of minutes that he's playing at his age, honestly. That is what I expected a lot more out of Wilson, too, but he struggled. Tatum was KG's pick last year. He was on fire pre-draft. Yeah, I really was I loved Tatum last year. I really wanted to have Tatum when we were picking number 3 overall. But look at Tatum. He's kind of disappeared this year, too. That whole team is a mess. Who would have thought when they got their two best players, really, that they would struggle so much there in Beantown. But I'm happy. But that game we lost because Brett Brown didn't take a timeout when we needed to draw up a play for that last shot. And then in overtime, same issue. I like Michael Porter Jr. Ben for De'Aaron Fox and Ben. Tatum fell because of Kobe. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, too. Definitely Donovan Mitchell. Now, was that question posed to me about, could you pose that trade about Ben and somebody else that guy just posted? Yeah. A hard-nosed guy that can play defense. I was hoping we were going to get him in free agency. Pacers are another nice team. I would trade Ben Simmons for Tatum and Scary Terry. Oh, dude, I would love to have Tatum on this team. I would trade Ben Simmons for them, too, as well. I'm right with you there, Eric. No doubt about it. Because that vision, like I said, I'd see it now. If Ben doesn't progress, he's good. He's good right now, but I want him to be great. And he's like a bona fide freaking Rondo right now. If all you're going to say is he can affect the game with his assist. Mikal Bridges didn't do squat last night. He really hasn't done anything all season. So, that trade so far has been okay for us. As well as that trade with Boston last year to go get Fultz. Yeah, but Style Prince, he has his games from time to time. I'm not saying that. I would rather have Simmons average 25 points a game rather than getting a triple-double almost every night. He did score 29, but it was against a 9-29 team, and I think the 28th ranked defense. So that 29 is kind of telling. And he was money from free throws. I'll give him that last night. He helped us with the free throws. For De'Aaron Fox. That's it. Ben for De'Aaron Fox. I would not do that. Digital print house. And I like De'Aaron Fox. I liked him coming out. Isn't Terry Rozier a free agent this summer? Yes, he is a free agent. I'd go after Terry. But I think he wants to be a starter. I know he's been complaining to management about not getting enough time. Because, when Kyrie went out, he was getting all that playing time and he was shining. And now that he's back, he's starting to chirp a little bit, which happens. Where young guys want to get their opportunity, they show what they can do. But, that's a telltale sign for Simmons. Yeah, he scored 29 points, but look what he did. Look who he did it against. Phoenix. If he did that against Boston, then we're talking something completely different. Mikal Bridges is one of those players. Yeah, he hasn't been that impressive. So that trade is... Yeah, you can't really grade a trade until 4 or 5 years down the road anyway. Why would they trade Simmons? Terry probably gonna... So that's been the talk. First guy that commented. I missed your name. I don't know if you live in the Philadelphia area. Bridges is leading rookies in steals. That's what's up. But there's been talk that you don't want to sit too long on Ben Simmons' potential for trade value because we did it with Noel, we did it with Okafor, and they're thinking, is Ben Simmons really a transcendent player from what we've seen in a year and a half? Okay? There's been a lot of talk rumbling around about Simmons. With the whole shot, is he ever going to develop it? How long can we wait? Blah, blah, blah. So you want to strike while the iron's hot. That's why we're talking about this right now. I really do think Zaire will ball out. I hope so. If he ever does get back on the court. But I was saying he was at a Texas Tech game, I think a couple weeks ago, and he looked awful, man. He looked like he lost about 25 to 30 pounds. He's been out with that Jones fracture. I don't know. And then he had that peanut allergy. I don't know if that affected his weight or... They said that he was supposedly be back on the court possibly by the end of January. They said in the new year, by the end of January, we would see Zaire Smith. That's all I know about that. Realistically, what you trade Ben for. Oh, man. That's tough. Because I don't know who would be looking for Ben. I mean that's tough because you would go off the potential factor. You had the same issue with Fultz, but you don't really have anything for Fultz to go off of. But Ben, you do. I don't know if you could trade Ben straight up for anybody. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. I don't know. Man. Say you do trade him, let's say Portland. Okay, let's just throw that out there. I don't think we'd get AD for that person. I don't think we'd get Anthony Davis for Ben Simmons, honestly. Because you got a bona fide superstar versus a very good player in Ben Simmons. Zero ball out with playmaking of Simmons. Yeah, definitely. Those two would play very well together. We stuck with 2 first-round picks who are ball dominant and can't shoot. That's the big pickle, man. Just like when we drafted, Embiid, Noel, and Okafor back-to-back-to-back. Why are you drafting 3 centers? 2 of which, one could defend, one couldn't have any offense. And then you had Embiid, who was injury-prone, but had both of those. AD is going to leave no matter what. They're going to have to trade him. If that was on the table, if we had the opportunity to get Anthony Davis, it would take more than Ben Simmons, in my opinion, to get him. But I would do that. If we could get Damian Lillard from Portland, I would trade Ben Simmons straight up for Damian Lillard. Realistically, I would love to do it for McCollum and Lillard, but I don't think they would do that. But I would do that as well. It's just a discussion, man. I'm not saying they should do it. It's just something to talk about. That's the name of the video. Everybody tripping out. Chill, bros. Chill, bro. I love D-Lil, too. But, bros, I haven't been impressed with Simmons at all this season, to tell you the truth. I'm not paying Ben Simmons $200 million for what I've seen so far. I don't know if you just chimed in, bros, but it's just the name of the video, just something to talk about. It's been in the circular, it's been in the media, so just something I wanted to talk about. Plus, I haven't made a video in a couple, so I'm all combining the games and the play of Simmons over the past 5 games and what we've seen all season and what they should do with Ben Simmons. You think his trade value shot, Eric? I say we put him on the block and see what we can get. Too early for that. We can't throw Ben on the block just yet. We got to wait till after this year. Yeah, I just tuned in. That's fair. He hasn't gotten better from last year. Yeah, that's what I mean. He hasn't progressed like Embiid has, bros. I'm saying we wait till the end of the year. Whatever happens in the playoffs, we go from that. Because if you think about it, if he doesn't develop that shot, what do you got? He can't keep the defense honest. He's easy to defend then. You have a guy that has the potential to be a transcendent player, but isn't going to take that next step. To be fair, neither has Tatum or Mitchell. But they weren't number 1 overall picks. And they weren't dubbed the next Magic Johnson. And they have struggled, exactly. A lot of these players haven't. And I would like to do a video about that too, because I talked about this a lot with. I would love to have Klay Thompson if that's who you're talking about, guys. Ben Simmons for Klay. That would be dope because we need a shooter. But I'd like to get more than just Klay for Ben. We can still resign Butler and get another max player like Kawhi or Klay. Yeah, I would love that to get those players. But then you got to look into later on down the road, you're not going to be able to sign Simmons into a max contract if you sign 2 of those guys, So that's everything you got to work in and factor. Plus our window. How long do we have to wait for Simmons to develop this shot? I would trade Ben. I would trade Ben at all. You wouldn't? True, Magic was never a good shooter. Yes, you can just get luxury tax. Yeah, he wasn't, but he did shoot. Jason Kidd wasn't a good shooter, but he developed a shot. LeBron James could not shoot, and look what that man has done over his career. They've all incorporated it. I don't care if he doesn't shoot well. Just attempt a shot. Attempt 5 shots. I don't care if you go 0 for 5 every single night. It doesn't matter. It's not about making the shot. It's just about attempting that shit. Because if I know you're not going to pull up and shoot, I'm going to do what you do best and stick 4 or 5 guys right in that paint and make you try to do something. It makes you easier to defend. It's like throwing an extra defender at you without there physically being a body there. Right. I know you can because technically they can match any offer, Philly 0024. But we're not going to get Kawhi Leonard. That ain't happening. All we have to do is get Ben to be able to effectively run around and beat 30 times until he gets a dribble handoff. You mean like a hard screen? And that's the problem if you watch the Clippers and the Suns game, bros. You got Embiid when he's down on the block, and Simmons isn't moving or really doing anything because unless he's going to get blocked out because he can't shoot again. So you kind of have to get him away from that fact, get him out of there for Embiid to go on the block and do work. Giannis can't shoot, but damn, he's averaging 27. But he shoots, though, Styles Prince. He attempts it. They're not good shooters. None of those guys I just listed are good shooters. None of those that were true point guards. But they attempted shots. They would attempt them at least, and they would go in from time to time. I'm not saying the guy's got to come out here and be Klay Thompson or Steph Curry or Del Curry. But they attempted them. It keeps the defense honest. It is so big to be able to shoot. Just shoot. Not make them. Just attempt the damn shot. That's what I'm saying. What's he saying? Which digital print house saying, Eric? I'm missing it. Oh, trades. Was he having 2K trades out there? But yeah, I don't think we'd get Anthony Davis, honestly. And if they did try to get something for him, and if he is guaranteed to leave, that might work in an advantage of us. But you can't realistically think about trading Simmons until after the season. But it's the consistency of Ben Simmons for me. Showing up in big games is another one. You want to be a true leader. You want to be a true point, because that's what a point of guard is. He's a floor general. He's the number one. He's the quarterback of the team. You want to be that guy, you got to show up in games. You got to be the number one, not the number 3 option, because he's the number 3 option. For sure. In this offense. You got Embiid number 1, you got buckets number 2. And realistically, you could even say he's number 4 if you incorporate JJ. Ben is good defensively, for sure. And a first rounder for Kemba. Whoa, Anthony Hands, I'm not doing that. I love Kemba, but I am not trading Ben Simmons for Kemba Walker. Nah, definitely not. Give Ben some credit, because he does stuff well. He's a good defender. Definitely a good defender. You know, the vision is bar none unbelievable. You can't teach that. His instincts, incredible. You know, I'm not saying this guy's a scrub. I'm not sitting here saying that at all. He's a very good player. He's not great, though. Not yet. Ben for Kyle Lowry and Ibaka next year. Kawhi leaves this year. Oh, come on, Sid. No way. What? No way, bro. No way. But I would definitely contact... this is all hypothetical, by the way, too. Yeah, Kemba... Nah, I'm not doing that for Kemba. Yeah, I do think he's got the Iverson-itis there, Philly024. Kemba definitely does. The only player on the team that he'll be stuck on, and he'll never do anything. I hope he doesn't re-sign that big deal that Charlotte's going to offer him. I hope he leaves and goes somewhere. Realistically, I'd love to have him, but then you got another ball-dominant guy. Ben for Bradley Beal? Nah, I'm not doing that either, man. Definitely not. See, Ben... See, that's the problem, you know? Like, I think you'd have to do... I don't know, no trades for 30-year-olds. Yeah, exactly, Style Prince. No old guys. It's got to be for a youthful guy. Like a D. Lil. Oh, he's close to 30. I think he's 27. McCollum. Guys that can shoot. All hypothetical, though. You know, maybe Ben will all surprise us. And it's just so frustrating because you saw what he did last season. He was unbelievable last season. He took over games. He was aggressive. He didn't do it with that. He didn't have to do it with the jumper. But what happened? Teams figured him out. They studied him. That's what you do. That's what happens. And teams figured out Tatum. You know, that's where you got to build on your game and go to the next level. No one is going to give up a young star. We want equal value. Potential, man. That's what potential can do for you. Somebody might pull the trigger on him because they could see... See, that's what I'm talking about. They might have the patience to wait for Simmons to develop that jump shot. We have a window. We've got that window that we got to worry about. We can't wait 3 or 4 years for Ben to develop that jumper. We got to speed it up a little bit. Ben is a huge upside. His value is high. It is. Ben has very high value because of the upside. But it's working against us with not being able to wait. If this was at the beginning of the process, and this was like year 2 of the process, I would not even be hypothetically talking about this. Because then we could wait. You know, we'd still be getting our pieces together, but we've got a solid team now. You know, we traded. We're year 5, or what are we in, year 5 for the process? Whatever. We're in that win now process, you know what I'm saying? All right, Sid, have a good one, homie. Happy New Year. Ben is in 3 or 4 years. I still only gonna be 25. Yeah, I'm not talking about his age, Philly. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just saying our window for winning right now, because we can't wait 3 years. Because we don't know if Embiid would want to stay here. He'd be off a contract. Jimmy came out and made that comment. If we do re-sign Jimmy, he don't want to play till he's 35. He's going to be 32, 33. I don't think Sixers will go in direction because we would lose too much ground. I think we should get a coach that uses him a little better, put him in the... And that's Brett Brown, using him as a point guard. He believes he's a point guard. I don't get why they aren't teaching him in patience. It all starts at the top, fellas. It all begins from the top. And on top of Elton Brand, you got Brett Brown right in there, because he was our GM when we were looking for a GM. He's right-handed, trying to shoot left. Yeah, his shot even at the free throw line is ugly as hell. Like, the way he holds the ball, like, he lays it flat on his palm. You know, if y'all have ever played basketball and you can shoot, you want to lift it. You want to have it balanced on the back of your fingers, so there's, like, space in between your palm and the ball, so you get lift on it. So you got that flick, you know, the arch. His is like a screwball. He holds the ball flat, sits flat on his palm, and then he has his other hand, the guiding hand, like on top of it. It's whack, dude. Brad Stevens should be our coach. He's a genius. I would have loved that, Brad Stevens. But every time he sees us on the schedule, he's licking his chops. Brett Brown is freaking putty in Brad Stevens' hands. It's not even a question. Again, a game we should have won, Eric. That started it. And then I don't even want to talk about that freaking disgrace. We will talk about it real quick. Okay, when they played the Blazers, no Embiid, had knee soreness. You all want to talk about Ben and, you know, possibly not trading him, and, you know, like, he's the best player on the team, or yeah. Where was he in that game? Shouldn't he have dominated? I didn't watch that game, but I think he only had 19 points or whatever. But when Embiid's not out, you want to have your other star show up. Where was he? That team without Embiid should have been able to take on the Blazers, I think. You know? And he just struggles. He struggles when he's the main guy. Biggest knock on him coming out of college, no killer instinct. On top of the not shooting. But no killer instinct. Of course he dominated in college. He was a man amongst boys. Didn't have to worry about not shooting, because he could get to the rock, or he could have the rock and get to the 10 every single time. Every single time. I don't want to hear that stuff. Well, he was that great. He should have took his team to the, you know, to the dance and blah, blah, blah. We're not even going to get into that. I don't think at the end of the Celtics game, why Ben didn't just take him to the hole. Exactly, Styles Prince. That's what kills me about Ben Simmons. He's not aggressive. He could take those little guys, because he can break the defense down, no problem. He brags about, you know, every time he gets cornered about the jumper. Why aren't you shooting? Well, I can get to the 10 at any time. And he can. His first step is sick. It's unbelievable. Plus, he's a big body guy. You get a dude that size with a full head of steam coming at you, and you're going on your back heels. If you all ever played basketball, that's hard to stay in front of you. You don't want to get freaking run over by a guy like that with his long strides. He could get to the 10. Just like AI used to. Break down a defense, go to the free throw line. Ben Simmons should be averaging, I think, at least 12 free throws a game. But he don't want to. He don't want to do that. He'd rather break down a defense and pass first. He's a pass first player. And we don't need that. We need to have an aggressor like a LeBron. That guy can take over a game at any point in time. Imagine pairing a LeBron type with Embiid. And then having Jimmy Butler as your third fiddle. Shit. We would definitely be the best team in the East and we'd be going to the championship. No doubt in my mind. But he's just not there yet. Ben not elite at finishing at the rim. He needs to at least be elite there. Exactly. He misses a lot of bunnies. He misses a ton of bunnies, bro. And I want to go out and attack a lot of these players. Not only Ben, but what is up with nobody dunking anymore when they're under the basket? They all go to freaking get an easy layup or just try to freaking throw it up real quick. Take it up strong and freaking dunk the ball, man. Throw the rock down. You know what I mean? Shit. Yeah, right? Yeah, I love that. I do that shit all the time. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. I used to love watching that back in the day. You know, that's a guaranteed three-point play every single time. Take it up strong. You're going to get fouled going up. No doubt in my mind because you got everybody hovering over you. Go amongst against the trees and throw that freaking rock down. Damn. I'd be screaming at my TV all the time. Embiid does it too. They all do it. How can you be 6'10" and not take it up and dunk every time? You're that big. You want to do that. You want to have your nuts swinging in their face. Posterize them. You know what I mean? Jesus. But, you know, this was just a hypothetical discussion tonight and talk about our West Coast trip. Sixers are 25, fourth in the East. Fatigue. Bro, he does it earlier in the game, too. And he takes off. He don't go hard 100% of the time. And B takes plays off, too. And that's Brett Brown's ass. Popovich would never let that happen. Never. Not with Tony Parker, not with Ginobili, not with Tim Duncan, nobody. He treated everybody on the same playing field. He was a mean cuss. A mean cuss to everybody. Brett Brown's a freaking pushover. He doesn't get on anybody's ass, ever. And when you see that, you see players taking plays off, you freaking bench them. Don't matter if you got superstar status or not. True, Philly, but Brett Brown learned under Popovich. You know, you figure some of that would rub off on Brett Brown, especially since he coached with him, 14 years? Maybe a little less? I'm not saying players don't all take off. None of them should do it. They should go hard all the time. But it seems like our players are always either in the wrong spot, wrong position, taking plays off. That shouldn't happen, dude. Shouldn't happen. Never. And they should be held accountable. That's just one instance. That's what I'm saying, Kurt. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. If I was that height, I would dunk every single time. I would never do no layups. Never. They always be... They sleep. They sleep on defense. All the time. And they take plays off. I don't care if we're up 15. I don't care if we're up 30. You never take your foot off the pedal. You don't ever want to give that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel to these teams to let them get back in the game. And it happened numerous times on this trip. But 6'10", it's just the league has gotten soft, and I think the Sixers are soft. I've stated that before. You know, it was great we got the toughness of Jimmy Butler to bring it in here to kind of have that pizzazz. And I would hope Embiid has it sometimes. He gets like beer muscles, but he's soft sometimes too. But bringing in Jimmy here, you figure you bring that toughness, that tenacity, but you got to have your coach be like that too. But Brett Brown's a pushover. So... Yep, it was a great discussion, though. Good talking, little Sixers. I'm going to get up out of here, guys. We don't have that. Our players are in 35 minutes plus. I know. That's one of our biggest weaknesses, and we're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs if we have no bench. Elton Brand needs to stop sitting on his hands and make a move. Just make a move. You know, you went out and made that great trade for Jimmy Butler. You talked about it after the fact that you weren't done yet. Well, I'm still sitting here looking at my watch. What are you going to do then? You see every night that we're struggling, you don't want to have your players playing that much, your starters, because you're going to burn them out. All right, Kurt, have a good one. Peace out. Happy New Year, homie. So stop sitting on your hands. Make a trade for whoever you're going to go get. Hopefully a freaking shooter. I don't know if he's expecting Zaire Smith and Markelle Fultz to make an impact, because that ain't going to happen. You need to get more players on this bench to help this team out. We are struggling. I don't want to make it to the playoffs and then get knocked out again. Okay? I want to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to take step backs. I want to move forward. That's what this team needs to do. But this isn't all Elton Brand. You got Brett Brown in that mix too. Trailblazers. Yeah, Brett Brown's rotations are terrible. Happy New Year, Eric. Have a good one. I appreciate it. You know I got to give love to my Sixers. Man, I've been rambling for an hour already. All right, y'all. I'm going to head up out of here. You have any comments, complaints? Hypothetical, though, today. Okay? Everybody freaking out about the title of the video. It's all hypotheticals. Something to talk. Percolate. Let it percolate in your head, though. Watch. We all watch the games. Just watch Ben Simmons, okay? Put him under a microscope for real, for real. Everybody want to attack Markelle Fultz for the same shit Ben Simmons is doing. Why is that? Why does he get a pass? Because he won Rookie of the Year? You freaking kidding me? Stop. Do you really want to pay a guy $200 million that can't take over a game, that isn't a legit superstar? I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to have our team set back. I don't care who you are. Nobody's untouchable. Nobody deserves a pass for any shit like that. All right? I don't care who you are. But I love Ben Simmons. I do like him. I'm pushing for the kid. I just want to see him get to that next level. I want him to become a LeBron James type. And he's always going to be labeled like that. Same with freaking Ingram and KD. They will be forever linked because that's who they were compared to. Prove us all wrong. I'm Kyle Gaffner with the Bitter Birds. I'm out. Happy New Year, Bitter Birds fam. And until next time, gonna do a video again. Peace!